Hello and welcome to I Am Organic Gardening. My name is Mark and I'm located in Zone 6B in the lovely state of New Jersey. And today I'm going to discuss with you what an inoculant is, when we use it, and how we use it.
What is an inoculant? Inoculant is a good bacteria that's found in our soil. It's called rhizobium bacteria. Now what that inoculant does, now there's all different types of it, and you have to find the specific thing that you're going to do. Like say there's inoculant different for peas or beans or that type of things, and that's where you're going to ask your seed company. That's where you get your seeds from. If you buy them in the store, there's other seed companies online that sell this, and you're going to say, listen, I want to inoculate this type of peas or beans, and they're going to set up you with a proper inoculant to use. So that rhizobium bacteria is going to help the roots of those plants or those peas and beans and cover crops that you're going to use of legume families, and they're going to help form nodules on the roots. And those nodules contain nitrogen and help produce proteins in the vegetables that you get from those plants, like your peas and beans. Couple things to look for. There is an expiration date on these packages also too. This is 12/31/2020. They do expire over time, and like I mentioned before, it will say what type of inoculant this is used for, and it will tell you on the package too. Like this one is 5 ounces, and it can do up to 100 pounds of seed. Cost of this package is around $10, give or take. So I took a step over to my garden, and I'm at the end of my rows of my sugar snap peas that I planted up a little while ago. So I'm going to dig these up, and I want to see if there's any of those nodules on here so I can show you what they look like. So let's pop these out of the ground, and let's see if we can find some nodules. So here's a good example. I just set the root on top of a yellow piece of paper so there's some contrast. There's a couple here growing on the root, those little white bumps, and there's another one right there that's also growing too. And those are nodules storing nitrogen. This is a cover crop I use in my garden also too with my winter rye. This is called crimson clover, and the bees just love this stuff. Now I'm going to dig this up. Now usually we won't find nodules on this. I'm hoping that they're there. Because once it starts flowering, those nodules will pretty much shrink up and go into the plant, all that excess nitrogen that they stored in the roots. So let's give it a try anyway. So here we have a nodule still, and let me point to it, just right on top of my finger here. Right there is a nodule that's growing. A lot of them have dried up already because, again, the plant is flowering. If you ever wanted to, let's say, use a cover crop to introduce nitrogen to your soil, you have to terminate the cover crop before it starts blooming. So I just turned around and I have a curious visitor watching me making my video. They're always around on my farm, keeping the population down on a lot of things, and they're all quite happy living here. So when do we use this inoculant? We use it anytime we're starting a new garden area because we don't know if that rhizobium bacteria is there. So we're adding new soil into our raised bed garden, starting another patch of our main garden, anything that we haven't grown or used, let's say peas or beans or cover crops in before. We want to ensure that this rhizobium bacteria is there. And we just do that for the first, say, 2 or 3 years, and after that, the nature will take over and regrow that bacteria all the time in our soil. So let's give it at least 3 years that we use it ahead of time in those areas that we've never grown something like this before in there. And the last thing is, how do we apply it? We have our seeds that we're going to apply it to. We have here, it's very important, this is distilled water. You don't want to use water that has chlorine in it. And the next thing is, you have your inoculant and you have some kind of container. So we're going to open up our seeds here. These are fava beans that I'm going to be planting up. They're quite large. Nice. We're going to add our distilled water. We're just going to add a little bit just to make them moist. We're going to just saturate around. Now, you don't want to have them wet. So what you're going to do is just let them kind of move around, make sure they're covered on all sides. can see here there's a lot of excess water. We're just going to drain that off like so. Pour it out of the container. Now, you just want the beans that you're doing, and I'll bring this back, you just want them gently moist. Now we're just going to take our inoculant, our rhizobium bacteria, and we just need a tiny little bit. You can see here, it's almost like black pepper. Let's see if we can get a better shot here for you. Now you can see that all this, let's say, it looks like black pepper on top. And now we're just going to shake them around and coat our seeds in our tray here. So we have a little bit on every single thing. And that's it. It's that simple. Now we're going to plant them up and they're going to grow beautifully. And one last tip, you can see here, I didn't pour all the water out like I should have, and inside here we have a little bit of the rhizobium bacteria, the inoculant, inside our water. If you never use the inoculant prior to planting your beans, your peas, or your cover crops, which you can do, especially with the beans and peas, you can just take some water and add your inoculant with it, and then just drench the soil with the inoculant, and that's going to help also too.
I want to thank you so very much for watching today's video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm always here to help. And if you can, please like and share the video. And I'll see you shortly with another great video in the future. Thanks. Have a lovely day. Bye.